With the content that I make, often consisting of horrible abominations that want to end humanity, all the way up to things like empty liminal spaces and backrooms levels that try to devour people by giving them starvation and dehydration until they turn into a red wretch. It's pretty safe to say my brain is full of depraved things. But the backrooms level that I'm going to be explaining in today's video, it takes the cake. Literally. This is the most disturbing, uncanny, and mind-boggling level that I've covered at least in the last year. Viewer discretion is advised. This is disgusting and disturbing. The level in question is nicknamed 3 Mile, and it's this empty complex of an abandoned nuclear facility full of a very strange fleshy substance as well as nuclear fallout. There's fleshy tumors, there's gigantic behemoths, there's nuclear radiation, there's the elephant's foot. Literally everything is in this level, and if you think that sounds cool, stick around for the explanation. I'd love to have you along. It would be my pleasure to tell you these horrible things. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the explanation, and let's see what this is going to have in store, shall we? The levels page starts with this statement. All of humanity's fears incarnate. A tulpa turned tumor. It will reach out to you, feast upon your being, and spit you back out. And it's so sad to know that it was once like us. And then right under that terrifying sentence, there is this picture, which is the mangled flesh monster that's melted and disfigured that quote was talking about. There are 5 different sections of the levels documentation, and I'll be going over each of them, but we'll be starting with a basic overview that's been given of the 3 Mile level. Then I'll dive into an expedition log, then the flesh stuff that I keep talking about, and an interview with the survivor. The level itself has a threat index of a class undetermined because it's really just uncountable in how weird its properties are. There's so much unknown information, and there's a strange being that kind of resides inside of the level. It doesn't make much sense, but you'll see what I'm gonna get to in a second. 3 Mile is the name that's been given to this otherwise unnamed and unnumbered level that was stumbled upon back in the 1980s. It looks to be an abandoned nuclear power plant with tech and design styles that were common in Western power plants before the infamous 3 Mile Island incident that happened in real life. So before 1980. If you don't know what the 3 Mile Island incident is, essentially back in 1979 near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, there was a partial nuclear meltdown of unit number 2 reactor at the 3 Mile Island nuclear station. It wasn't like Chernobyl level catastrophe, but it was still bad. Don't get me wrong. There was like gas and fallout leaking out and stuff like that. But this level here is named after that nuclear plant. And it looks similar too. Its general design and its general layout kind of have the exact same vibe as what you would imagine the inside of an old nuclear facility would. The general structure of the level is in bad shape. It's fallen apart, to be honest, and there's dirt, there's grime everywhere. There's cracks in the ceiling and on the walls, there's rubble in front of where you're trying to walk, there's old melted down reactor cores everywhere that are leaking radioactivity. It's not very fun to be in here. The complex itself can be traveled by going through a various labyrinth of hallways or by going up and down through a set of old dingy staircases. But it's safe to say no place is actually safe, so travel at your own risk. It's very dangerous. Throughout parts of the complex, a substance called corium exists in excess and flows from the ceiling and can drip down on top of you. Now, corium is pretty much kind of like a lava consistency mixture of nuclear waste and other toxic materials that you get when a nuclear reactor core kind of gets melted down. This is that gooey liquid that's left over, and it's the substance that was at the bottom of the Chernobyl disaster in the elephant foot area. Anyways, that awesome substance is dripping everywhere in this level. It's even clogging hallways left and right, and in some cases it's flooding entire rooms. Now, the level itself is also not confined to the space of just a nuclear plant, but we also don't really think it's infinite because after about 50 kilometers from where you start the level at, the hallways kind of get blocked. At that 50-kilometer mark, each hallway gets filled with these giant piles of rubble and broken walls, and you can't climb over them. They're just kind of wedged in the hall and you cannot get past, and that essentially blocks off the rest of the power plant. We don't know what's back there, and I'm not sure that we want to, but it could go further. We just have no idea. Now, because of the insanely high levels of radiation here, if you do come to this level, you will either die from that or the flesh monster that I'll talk about later. It's one or the other. You cannot be rescued because it would endanger the people that would try to come and rescue you, and essentially you would be consumed by the radiation burns eventually. But now I want to talk about the initial expedition of this level that happened way back in the day. Back in 1987, an initial search of this level took place where several people attempted to adventure through it, kind of map it out, see what's up, and make sure that it wasn't going to explode. Spoiler alert, it did. Eventually, this group of people walk so deep and enough through these hallways that they run into a skin stealer on the ground. They think it's dead, so they walk around it and they kind of continue to move on. Only when they all pass the skin stealer, it stands up and it grabs and attacks one of the members of the team. The investigator that got grabbed is kind of struggling, trying to get the giant creature off of it, obviously. And in this struggle, they both fall through a crack in the lower floor, all the way down to a very low level inside of this complex, directly into, you guessed it, a pool of corium, that nuclear, lava, milkshake, toxic radiation stuff. After this, the team assumed the man was dead, and they cut the recording and they tried to escape themselves. Except the man that the skin stealer grabbed and fell down into the radiation pools, he didn't die. He actually had a fate worse than death. And here is a recovered audio log of what he has to say about the events that took place when he fell. Quote, "I survived the attack by the skin stealer. The thing's dead, but I don't doubt that no one is coming to help me now. I can't move, so I have to rest with the creature's body next to me. The radiation here must be lethal, but I'll try to survive. I hope." The skin stealer seems to have a bunch of tumors on its body. I'm not sure how I've not noticed this before. Maybe they're still growing. That would mean it's alive, knocked out cold. I hope not. The wounds are hurting a lot. I'm bleeding everywhere. I remain hopeful. Maybe a better prepared gang will find me. The tumors have grown. The thing is still alive, and it seems trapped in a coma, and I'm worried. I've begun to feel pain too. Maybe I have the tumors as well. My arms have begun to hurt massively if I write too much. The tumors burst through the skin stealer's skin. It looks terrifying. The tumors have teeth and muscle and bone. Some of them even have eyes. I've noticed small humps around my joints too. The humps grow larger. It hurts so much. The skin stealer's tumors have been growing more of the terrifying features. They've buried the corpse under their flesh. I may soon only be able to write small sentences or words. They are growing in my direction. I can feel them on my fingers. The humps burst open. They revealed the same tumors. It hurts. It is all one massive tumor. It's developed a mouth. It says out loud what I write. It sprawls all over me. It spreads over the walls. It seems to be evolving to survive. It continues to speak what I write in script. I can't do anything. It spreads beyond this room, barely able to write. So that was the horrifying log of this man getting completely overwhelmed and consumed by what seems to be a sentient kind of tumor. Obviously, he described the room that he fell into as being full of this corium material, and he was trapped next to this dead skin stealer. The radiation he was exposed to then caused the skin stealer to grow those tumors, and they fleshed out. And then, of course, that poor guy also had the same fate, where the tumors came out of his skin, and then eventually they all grew together into one mushy, gooey, fleshy blob. He said it grew a mouth, and it started to talk, and it started to expand out of the room they were in. And eventually, I'm guessing it took over the entire level. This place is no longer called 3 Mile, it's now called Teratoma. Now, teratoma as a word in real life is a kind of tumor that can grow hair and other kinds of features. As you heard in that man's description, this thing was growing mouths and eyeballs and that kind of thing, so that's where they get the name from. But as it relates to this level, teratoma is the nickname given to these fleshy parts of the nuclear fallout place. And it's essentially this evolving, living tumor that's consuming the entire 3 Mile level. It eats the toxic material that's down here, and it kind of uses it as fuel to hunt whatever stumbles into its trap. Now, you see, that guy fell into the bottom of this area, and he kind of sprouted those tumors back in 1987. So all of this fleshy stuff started from him and that single skin stealer. So those two things together created teratoma, and now it's taking over the entire level as one deadly sentient blob. Fast forward from 1987 to 2025, and teratoma covers every single inch of the level. Muscle and sinew and cells and tendrils cover every substance and every surface. These tendrils can be controlled by teratoma's head, and it's how it grabs its prey and moves it closer to its mouth. Speaking of mouths, eyes and other mouths are dotted along the core and the body and the tendrils of this tumor. They're always staring at whatever poor soul has fallen down into this level, and they're waiting to kill it. Gurgling and bubbling noises can be heard silently echoing through the hallways here. And for people that don't know what this level is, if they stumble into it, they might just think that the level's creaking and shaking like a building would, having no idea that a living tumor is ready to eat them. Sometimes long strands of hair are hanging from inside the ceilings, where teratoma has spread its flesh through the ceilings and it leaks down through the bottom. Like I said, teratoma tumors can grow hair and other things, and that's exactly what this thing's doing. Its body is latched onto every single surface in the level. Stone, drywall, wood, rock, nuclear material, it's all fused directly into its fleshy organs. The way the teratoma eats is that when it grabs a victim, whatever it's like an entity or a human or whatever it is, it'll grab it and pull it down towards its base, where that man and that skin sealer fell down into. In this area, it has filled the room with a toxic fluid that's kind of like the fluid that's in level 2's pipes. It's got a very high alkalinity, and it melts things like a strong acid. If you couple that with the corium and other nuclear material here, nothing is safe to breathe in or touch. But that's how it consumes. It simply just melts its victims. It grows more and more sentient and intelligent over time, and is now considered to be above a human level consciousness. Some people have even claimed that they've seen the entity no-clip its tendrils through different walls, and it somehow harnessed the ability to do that. Which is crazy, I know, but it's pretty terrifying. And if that's the case, that means that the 3 Mile level may not be able to contain this teratoma, and once it outgrows the walls, eventually it might grow into other levels and connect them all inside of this fleshy death tumor network. Quote, "The teratoma is an entity unlike any other, an enigma standing out in a crowd of other terrifying creatures of make-believe. It is intelligent and well adapted to anything, really, and it'll continue to grow its intelligence and adaptability and size. We best hope it doesn't breach the walls of the nuclear plant it birthed itself in." The teratoma is literally one of the strangest phenomenons inside of the Backrooms. It's also one of the most terrifying things that I've come across in all my years of doing this. It's literally a living tumor parasite flesh monster that eats nuclear radiation, and it all started when some poor guy fell down a crack with a skin stealer and got injected with all this nuclear stuff. But to be honest, that description kind of just sounds like a regular Tuesday here on the Brooklyn channel. 3 Mile as a level itself is off limits, and if you're stupid enough or dumb enough to ever want to go here, the only way you can is by going through a door on level 1, which kind of sucks because some newbie to the Backrooms might not know what it is, open the door, and then get in here, and they get eaten by the teratoma or die from radiation. There's also no listed exits other than finding the door that you came in, but like I said, if you came here, you're probably not going to survive. But now that you've heard the level, you know why it's so disturbing, you know why it's strange and never talked about, and I'm probably not going to be able to sleep tonight. So, you're welcome. That's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. This was a crazy Backrooms level. Really enjoyed researching it, looking into it, and go read the page yourself. It's a crazy page, very well done, and I really love levels that are like this, and leave a like if you do too. Thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for all the support on the new content that I've been uploading. Like I said, I've been trying to diversify content a little bit, and I really appreciate y'all sticking around with me through that. If you do want more content from me, go to my Spookly channel. It's where I upload a couple times a month on there, and I have an Instagram and a Twitter as well. Thank you so much for everything. With all that said, I will see you in the next video. Wherever I see you at, make sure you tell somebody you love them. Life's too short not to. With all that said, bye.